Welcome to a special New Year's Eve edition of Second City Sports. We're live in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. This is our last show of 2022. We're going to make it a great one. I'm yours truly, Sid the Kid. Ryan beside me is my good buddy, Miss Lakina McGee. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at CK80. Once again, it's CK80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You find me Kingdom McGee on the Twitter and _McGee on the IG. Easy for me to say.
Make sure you download that Sports Zone Chicago app today. You want to know why? Because we said so, that's why. And also so you can support our other live shows that we have going on throughout the week. And you haven't to miss any of them, you can go back to listen and watch them at your own leisure, especially during this time of year. A lot of you people have the weekend off to celebrate the holiday season. Just download that Sports Zone Chicago app today. Speaking of Sports Zone Chicago, you can follow us on all social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Please subscribe to our podcast at War on Anchor. We are available on all podcast platforms, including the iHeartRadio app. And give War Media a follow while you're at it at WARR Media. Once again, at War Media on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And thank you very much in advance for your support.
Like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends.
We are unapologetically fun, and we have very definite opinions. You have any definite opinions during our 2-hour extravaganza we call a Sports Talk Radio Show? You can always hit us up in the comments section at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in your questions or comments in the comments section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you. But we decide to troll and or do something stupid. I've given Lakina full power to give you fools going into the new year at the beer land be a boot.
Bye-bye.
I love when she says that. But before we begin, we must remind you that you can now catch Sports Zone Chicago also available on Roku TV. That's right. So celebrate with the squad, get with the program, and make sure you check out Sports Zone Chicago now available on Roku TV. If you already have a Roku television, just tap on the sports folder and download Sports Zone Chicago through that avenue. If you don't have a Roku TV, but you have some handheld devices laying around like your iPad, iPhone, iTouch, your Chromebook like I'm using right now, or your personal computer like Lakina's using right now, just download that Roku TV app and access Sports Zone Chicago through that venture. So celebrate with the squad. No more excuses. Get with the program. Sports Zone Chicago is now on Roku TV. We're available live and on demand 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
What's up, Lamont? Good afternoon to you as well. In this last show of 2022, I feel like Barbara Walters for a second. We have a busy show coming your way. Of course, our girl Christine Manika at KXRB will be here at 1:30 for our Week 17 picks. Also, too, another one of our good friends, she'll be making her debut here. We had her on when we were doing the show podcast on War Media, Kacy Standohar. You might have seen her on the sidelines on Fox Sports 1. As Evans wanted to say, also CBS Sports Network. She's done some stuff for them with some
Big
sideline
10
stuff.
plus, yeah.
Basketball, volleyball, soccer. I know she's done a couple of soccer championships, conference championships. So we'll talk to her also too. She runs the social media for CHGO. So we'll cover all avenues with her in just a little bit at 1:00. She's actually joined us for a whole 1:00 hours.
Yeah, so that's definitely going to be fun. Lakina, let's get this party started by discussing the Chicago Bulls and the rest of the NBA at large. The Bulls will host the Detroit Pistons tonight at the United Center. I believe they have another game tomorrow at the UC to close out the 2022 calendar year. But let's review the 119-113 victory over the Milwaukee Bucks on Wednesday. DeMar DeRozan led all scores with 22 points. Patrick Williams had a nice game for the Chicago Bulls. Zach LaVine stepped up. Vucevic had some big moments. But Lakina on the flip side for Milwaukee, Giannis Antetokounmpo, a.k.a. the Greek Freak, had 45 for the Milwaukee Bucks. He actually led all scores for both teams in that category. Grayson Allen had 13, but that damn pass, he was fouled by Patrick Williams early in the third quarter, and he did that stupid shove into the back of DeMar DeRozan. Tempers flared. There was no technical foul that was called. But Lakina, the Bulls flatlined for a while. That's what got Milwaukee the lead, that double-digit lead, that 13-point lead going into the fourth quarter. But the Bulls manned up behind DeMar DeRozan. He had that big steal, which led to the Ayo Dosunmu dunk over Giannis to tie the game at the end of regulation. Overtime, Milwaukee had the first couple of buckets, but the Bulls manned up again and came out big on top. The only thing that bothered me, Lakina, and it's been bothering me all year, two things. And our guy, Matt Peck from CHGO, pointed this out on their post-game show on Wednesday. the Bulls gave up 22 offensive rebounds. And number two, they've been inconsistent all year. Lakina, they are 5-8 against sub 500 teams. But unlike last year, this year they're showing up and they're beating the good teams. They're beating Boston twice this year, and now you can add the Milwaukee Bucks twice to their list as well.
Yeah, it's sort of one of those things where it's kind of a head scratcher, right? They're 5-8, and so of course, that loss to Houston earlier this week, that definitely is without goes without saying. So that's an interesting little tidbit there. But yeah, I mean, at least here, the cardiac Bulls, as they're being called, with various folks, they were down like 12. I thought the game was over. I actually turned the game off when I thought, okay, less than 5 minutes left. They're, Bucks are still up by 9. Then I look up like, wait, it's what? It's overtime? Huh? What the heck happened? But yeah. I mean, look, Isles stepped up, had some big buckets. Zach had some big buckets. Of course, Dragic has some big buckets too for the Bulls. So yeah, it's sort of
he had 12 points off the bench in overtime.
Yeah, so that definitely helped them in that sense. But yeah, I mean, look, this is what you want. I mean, they need something to kind of get things going. They're 15-19 right now. They play Detroit tonight. I mean, I know there have been the updates about the little tussle that the Magic and the Pistons have, but we'll get to that in a second. But a couple of days ago, we'll get to that in a minute. But I mean, look, there's no reason why the Bulls can't get a little bit of a run here. Just get a little bit closer to 500. They can go from there. And look, it's sort of the schedule set up for them. I know they're going to be a little bit shorthanded tonight, but yeah, they're now 2-0 against Milwaukee, and that whole day with Grayson Allen and all that. But yeah, this is weird. But yeah, I mean, look, they got a tough one against a home against Cleveland. Starting tomorrow. Then it goes into Monday. Then they got Brooklyn. They're playing better. Philadelphia, which got flexed out, they're playing better. Utah, so it gets a little bit tougher for the Bulls. This is sort of a way to kind of like get things going, to get a little bit of a run going.
Yeah, and this is what we've been looking for from this Bulls team all year, Lakina. Can you build on these good habits and keep it rolling? They've been consistently inconsistent all year. Remember last week, Lakina, around this time, we were previewing the game against the New York Knicks, in which DeMar DeRozan helped bail the Bulls out of that game, and also thanks to Jalen Brunson missing those two free throws before then as well. But the Bulls were on a 3-game winning streak. They played Houston the day after Christmas, no problem, and they end up losing. And of course, what we talked about just now, they had a big victory against the Milwaukee Bucks. They better come out tonight, excuse the expression, guns blazing against the Pistons. They don't have Cade Cunningham. It's all about Jalen Ivan, the rookie sensation out of Purdue at this point for the Pistons. They should come out guns blazing tonight against the Pistons. Remember what you did against Milwaukee in that fourth quarter in overtime on Wednesday. Add that to a 4:48 minutes tonight, and you should be good. And do the same thing to Cleveland. I know Cleveland is still in the middle of the pack in the Eastern Conference, but they're much better than they were this time last year, Lakina, and they were surprised of the league a year ago. So thanks to Donovan Mitchell for the most part. But worry about tonight. Build on these good habits against the Detroit Pistons. You should blow them out of the UC tonight, and we'll take it on from there.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the key here. Listen to Second State Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. Lakina McGee, Cindy Brown with you. It's going to be interesting, especially with that Detroit game. I mean, I don't know if they've had any suspensions from the little tussle that happened between them. Because I think like all their most of the Pistons, if not all their left the bench. So that whole thing.
Yeah. For those of you that don't keep up with today's NBA, if you're a player, coaches can leave the bench to break up a tussle. But if you're a player, even if you don't throw a punch, it doesn't matter. If you leave the bench, even 1 inch of that bench, as Amari Stoudemire from the 2007 playoffs against the Spurs, if you step 1 inch onto that court, 1 game suspension, an automatic fine. Just saying.
Well, I still have my druthers about that, but we'll get to that another time. But yeah, I mean, look, that whole thing, we'll get to all that probably after the break. But to close out our Bulls discussion here, but look, I think the Bulls, look, they can get it going. I know people want to trade, play with their trade machines and everything else and whatever, and all these rumors and such. But yeah, at this point, let's just get to February and see what happens there. You want to go ahead and do the whole, we should, tear it down, whatever, fine. But right now, I think, look, the Bulls could probably have a better record had they had not breaking those bad habits. It could be like 19-15 or something like that. So I'm not going to, I know people, I've had to turn off certain, sports radio shows because they were kind of getting on my nerves with some of their takes. But look, let's take it one step at a time, one game at a time and go from there.
All right, you're listening to Second City Sports, a special New Year's Eve edition on this Friday, December 30th, right here on Sports Zone Chicago. We're live and in living color. Sid Lakina here with you, talking Bulls of the NBA. Lakina, we'll probably have to continue this after the break, but let's get it started with the national conversation of the NBA abroad. We'll recap some of the games that took place over the last couple of days since we last talked with you guys on Wednesday. Let's go to last night's action Thursday. The Indiana Pacers, though, another surprise team in the NBA this year, they beat the aforementioned Cleveland Cavaliers 135-126. Did you check out that dunk by Mr. Aaron Naismith last night over Jared Allen? That was nasty.
I saw a little bit of that. That was actually a pretty a little bit of a tomahawk there for him. But yeah, I mean, you got Cleveland coming from a back-to-back. So I mean, no, not Cleveland, but yeah, I mean, look, I think it's gonna be interesting for Cleveland how they are, especially tomorrow when they play the Bulls. And yeah, I think that they're not gonna be in a very good mood after that loss because it kind of let some things sort of slip away there. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of that was look once again the Indiana Pacers. They're kind of showing you that they're kind of like the breakout team. So we'll see if they can keep it up. Rick Carlisle got his guys going.
Yeah, Tyrese Halliburton led the Pacers with 29 points. He's been a surprise this year. We saw what he did with Sacramento the last couple years. Of course, he was part of the trade of along with Buddy Hield being sent to Indiana in exchange for Domantas Sabonis last year, who's hurt by the way for Sacramento. We'll get to them in a moment. But Indiana's been a nice surprise this year. Give Rick Carlisle all the credit in the world, and also people wanted Indiana to trade Miles. What's his name? He's blanking on Miles Turner. And Buddy Hield for Russell Westbrook. You're not doing that trade now if you're Indiana. You're not. You're right in the middle of the playing race. You're not doing that now. I don't think they're ever going to do it, but you're not doing it now.
Well, yeah, I saw that rumor. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're playing with the trade machines again. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of I mean, he had I think he scored. I think with less than a minute into the game. I think that was the shortest. Not take that was the shortest for the opener. They go 3 seconds in, so he didn't waste any. Talk about not wasting any time with the scoring. But yeah, I mean, but a nice win for the Pacers and such to kind of keep pace in the middle of that pack in the Eastern Conference. The Clippers, I mean, the Clippers, I'm starting to figure out this team. I mean, they were up big against Boston, but then they got a little bit of a Celtics got a little bit of a run. They beat them 116-110. Of course, Jason Tatum again had 29. Also, Jaylen Brown also had 29. They had some. The other guys kind of helped out there too. Marcus Smart had 17 points. On the losing side for the Clippers, PG had 24. Kawhi had 25. But
his best game so far this year, Kawhi.
Yeah, but not a lot of contributions from some of the other guys. I mean, I know Norman Powell had 19 off the bench, but they, unfortunately, some of the shots they weren't hitting some of their shots late in the game, and that's what cost them. That's what got the Celtics to pull away.
And also, Boston's defense locked down on the Clippers' two hottest scorers in Kawhi and Paul George, too. So, like you said, give Marcus Smart credit. And Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both have 900 points individually so far this year. I think they're the fourth or fifth duo to do that in 50 games since the early 80s. I saw that stat this morning. I said, that's crazy. But we said this is the best duo in the NBA, and they proved it again last night.
Yeah, definitely. So, we'll see if they can keep it up. Boston still has the best record as of right now. The Clippers, they'll continue their road trip over the weekend. We'll get to that in a second. So, I know we're up against it, but let me see here. One more game real quick from last night. The Spurs beat the Knicks 122-115. Keldon Johnson had 30 points leading the way there. The Knicks loses by Julius Randle 41 points, a season high for him. So I mean that's look. This is what I said about the Knicks. Once they got a little bit of their run, you're starting to see the same issues that we saw last year, giving up big points. The defense not setting up when they could. You saw that game against the Bulls last week. So now we're starting to see it again, kind of a repeat of that little performance.
More NBA discussion straight ahead. Of course, we'll get into the Bears and Lions preview, whatever that is. We'll give you our keys to the game for this upcoming Sunday. Can the Detroit Lions hang on to their playoff spot, or could the Bears go up there and forfeit and upset the blue and silver gang? And we'll give you our picks for tomorrow's college football playoff: Michigan, TCU, and Ohio State in Georgia. That and a whole lot more. You're listening to a special edition of Second City Sports. I'm Sid. That's Lakina. We're live in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I needed for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class.
These colored pencils, too. These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver.
I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov, a public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Sean and Maya in the morning.
Oh, sorry. Welcome back to Second City Sports, a special New Year's Eve edition on the Friday. I'm Sid the Kid. That's Lakina. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow me at Kingdom McGee on the Twitter and at Kingdom McGee on the IG.
We have less than now than 90 minutes left of this extravaganza we call a sports talk radio show. If you want to get at us via the comment section, you can always hit us up at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in your questions or comments in the comment section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you. Continue on our NBA discussion, Lakina. A couple of games that jumped out at me. This is now from Wednesday. The Brooklyn Nets are on a current 10-game winning streak. They come back from double digits to beat the Atlanta Hawks 108-107. Kevin Durant scored 26 points to grab a personal season high, 16 rebounds. Kyrie Irving scored 28 points, including 15 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think that was Nets still look. The Nets are getting it going, and I think that look, if you saw that game, I think if you saw some of the things that sort of happened during that game, it was definitely it was kind of back and forth, and Atlanta made some big shots, Nets made some big shots. Kyrie got 28. Nets were able to hold them off, but it was actually a pretty entertaining game, I think. And look, I think the Nets are Jacques Vaughn. We've been saying it for the last couple of weeks. Jacques Vaughn seems to finally have gotten something. Found a little bit of a niche there, so let's hope that stay away from the headlines. At least, outside of basketball at the very least, and that good things will happen. And look, they're back up there in the top 5 in the East.
Yeah. Speaking of the Eastern Conference, the Miami Heat are getting the act together. They stopped the Lakers' short win streak as the Lakers continuing through that East Coast road trip after beating the Orlando Magic. The Miami Heat lose big time to the Miami Heat on Wednesday, 112-98. Lakers lose. But I thought I did say the Lakers, Lakina.
No, you said the Heat. No, you did. You said the Heat. You lose to the Miami Heat. That's what you said.
Oh, my bad. I'm glad I have you here with me. But yeah, I stand corrected. First of all, I'm glad you're with me. Second, the Heat beat the Lakers 112-98. LeBron James and Jimmy Butler both have 27 points. The Miami Heat, as we said last year, Lakina, and it looks like they're starting to use this formula now. The Miami Heat scored their baskets off of turnovers because they're one of the best defensive teams in the league, and they proved that on Wednesday against a bad Lakers team.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, you took advantage of the fact that they are not a very good team. I'm talking about the Lakers, and but look, I think the good news is that they're still finally kind of starting to find their niche. I'm talking about the Heat. Of course, Jimmy Butler, he's been in and out of the lineup too with injuries, but he stepped up with 27 points. Bam had 23 and 14 boards. That was another thing that they, the Heat got the Lakers on. In the rebound department, Tyler Hero had 18 points. That's our girl Alana Tuck Hours guy. So that's So, but he's been
I can be your hero, baby. Oh, I'm sorry.
we won't got the money to pay for the royalties there. So, but
that's why I stopped.
But I'm not sure why the Heat looks like they're starting to get it going as well. They've been kind of been up and down like the Bulls have, so they're still kind of getting things going. But I mean, look, look, you did what you're supposed to against a not so good team. But one game I want to talk about from Wednesday, and after losing to the Nuggets by 7. This time the Kings returned the favor and edged out the Nuggets 127-126. Malik Monk had 33 points. That's definitely a season high for him. And this the Kings, look, they're 16 and 15, 18 and 15, 18 and 15, I should say, as this recording, and they're starting to kind of get it going too. So, look, I mean, it was back and forth, and actually the Kings had a big fourth quarter, outscoring the Nuggets 33-21. So if they actually came back from a deficit, that they were able to kind of pull that out.
Yeah, Nikolai Jokic for the Denver Nuggets had another big game with 40 points again, but unfortunately he didn't get much help, especially down the stretch. I know they beat the Kings the first time there the other night. I know Aaron Gordon didn't play, but this time around, it was an inconsistency for the Denver Nuggets just going through the box score here. I know a lot of the big guys didn't play, like Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. He played, but he scored 19. But everybody else who usually don't get playing time, they played, but they just didn't do enough. And so Sacramento took advantage of that. And like you said, they made the big plays down the stretch. And Malik Monk hit those 2 free throws which ultimately sealed the game for the home team.
Yeah, so I mean, look, 33 points off the bench for Malik Monk. Demonte Sabonis had 31, also to De'Aaron Fox, so they each had 31. So look, Mike Brown guys playing pretty well. So I think the Kings, can they keep it up? That's gonna be the number one question as we get into the new year. But again, we'll see what happens there. But it should be interesting though. Also Golden State got a nice win against Utah, 112-107. Jordan Poole, look, give him credit for kind of stepping up, with Steph being out. We'll see. We'll see. They've actually been, the whole home team. Look, they're 15-2 at home. Home hasn't really been a problem for the Warriors this year, even before Steph got hurt. But but a nice one against a pretty good Jazz team.
And another team that people need to watch out for in the Western Conference, and that's the New Orleans Pelicans. They get a 1-point win at home on Wednesday, wrapping up the Wednesday schedule. They get a 1-point win, talking about the Pelicans, over the Minnesota Timberwolves, 119-118. Zion Williamson had another big game for the Pelicans. CJ McCollum did his thing as well. If he can stay healthy quietly, I think Zion Williamson could be a candidate for MVP.
Yeah, he can. I mean, look, he definitely gonna be. Again, assuming he stays healthy, he definitely has most improved career. He'll have that wrapped up. But yeah, I mean, could he be? I don't know. But yeah, but we'll see. I mean, like I said, health is gonna be a concern for him. So if I were, so I would say health's gonna be a big issue for Zion. So if he can stay healthy, he definitely clean up in some of those awards. Now going into this weekend's games, tonight you got Washington or Orlando at 6:00. Then you got the first game of the NBA TV doubleheader, because remember, ESPN has bowl commitments, so that's why you're seeing these this doubleheader on NBA TV tonight. You got the Lakers and the Hawks. That should be a fun one between LeBron and Trae Young.
He always puts on the show in Atlanta talking about LeBron.
Yeah, Phoenix and Toronto also too. They're still doing their East Coast road trip. Phoenix have been struggling a bit, so we'll see if they can. They lost to Washington on Wednesday by 25. So I don't know if maybe the stuff off the court is starting to kind of play a little bit there. I know Booker's been out too, so that's kind of probably been another deterrent for them as well. But yeah, that should be interesting. Of course, the Bulls against the Pistons. If you're the Bulls, you better jump on the Pistons, because I think they're going to be shorthanded tonight. Minnesota should be a good one. Minnesota and Milwaukee. I know Minnesota's coming up and down with Cat being hurt and the other injuries that they've had, so we'll just see how they do. This should be a good one. Philadelphia and New Orleans. That should, speaking of the aforementioned Pelicans, that should be a fun one at 7:30.
Embiid versus Williamson. That should be a good matchup.
Miami and Denver. That's as Miami they start their West Coast trip at 8:00. That should be a fun one. The second game of the NBA TV doubleheader, you got Portland against Golden State. That should be a fun one. Another fun one here. You got two surprising teams from the West. You got Utah and Sacramento at 9:00.
All right, let's go into tomorrow's schedule, which is Saturday night, New Year's Eve night. Of course, the Cavaliers will travel to Chicago for the second time this year. They'll play the Chicago Bulls. Note the start time, Bulls fans. The ones that you're going to the game tomorrow, it's at 6:00 Chicago time. Once again, 6:00 tomorrow for Cleveland and the Bulls at the United Center. The city wants you out those streets by midnight. Just saying. So just give you fair warning. Continuing with the rest of the schedule for New Year's Eve, the Clippers will continue the East Coast road trip at Indiana. That's at 2:00. At 6:00, we'll have Brooklyn at Charlotte. Also at 6:00, we have the Knicks visiting Houston to take on the Rockets. Also at 6, note the early start times because of New Year's Eve. Dallas will travel to San Antonio to take on the Spurs. At 7:00, we'll have New Orleans at Memphis, Detroit at Minnesota. Also Philadelphia at Oklahoma City Thunder. And wrapping up the New Year's Eve schedule, we'll have the Miami Heat taking on the Utah Jazz at 8:00.
Really looking forward to Pelicans Grizzlies matchup tomorrow. That should be a fun one. Two upstart teams from the West, so we'll see how they do. And the first games of 2023 will commence on Sunday. You got Sacramento and Memphis. That should be a fun one. Memphis, coming off a back-to-back for them. Washington, Milwaukee, also at 7, and you got Boston and Denver. That should be a fun one at 7:00 as well. And because of the bowl games and such, that's why you're not seeing these games televised.
And the NFL
anywhere.
as well.
Yeah, so that's why you're not seeing any of these games televised anywhere. But I'm sure you could probably stream them somewhere.
Yep, on NBA League Pass. Yep.
Yeah, so it's gonna be NBA League Pass.
All right, that Celtics Nuggets could be a sneaky preview for the NBA Finals. You never know, so pay attention to that game. And now wrapping up these holiday schedule. This is for Monday, January 2nd. Of course, the Bulls and Cavaliers will finish their home-and-home series, and that's in Cleveland at 6:00. At 2:00 on Monday, we'll have Phoenix and the Knicks from MSG. At 6:00, the Lakers will take on Michael Jordan Charlotte Hornets. Also at 6:00, Toronto and Indianapolis to take on the Pacers. Also at 6, New Orleans and Philadelphia again.
That should be a fun one too. That might be a good one. You got Embiid versus Zion. That should be a good one.
At 6:30, we'll have San Antonio at New Jersey. So, I said New Jersey. Brooklyn. Check that Brooklyn. So Brooklyn. My brain's getting old, folks. At 7:00, we'll have Dallas at Houston, Denver at Minnesota, and 9:00 on NBA TV, where we'll have Atlanta at Golden State. Also at 9:00, Detroit at Portland. At 9:30, the Miami Heat take on the Los Angeles Clippers. And that's your schedule for Monday.
Definitely gonna be watching that Miami Clippers game. Could be a sneaking peek of the NBA Finals. We'll see. You never know. And Tuesday to round out the schedule for this weekend, going into the holiday, breaking finish up the holiday weekend. And you got Washington and Milwaukee. That's at 7 o'clock on NBA TV. Boston, OKC, and a good one. Sacramento, Utah. Yes, they're gonna play tonight too. So, but yeah, this is a word how they do these games this year. But yeah, it is what it is. But that would be it. And that is your schedule for the NBA. In this long as we finish up this holiday weekend. You listen to Kacy Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. You got Lakina McGee, Cindy Brown with you. Our final show for 2022. Going into where you want to go to next, Sid? I know we got a lot of things we want to do.
Yeah, let's get this Bears preview out the way before we get to the college football playoff. Of course, the Chicago Bears, they have 2 games. Like everybody else, they have 2 games remaining in the season. They'll travel to Detroit to take on the Detroit Lions. The Lions are 7-8, while the Bears post a record of 3-12. Detroit still has a chance to make it to the playoffs. Their destiny is in their own hands. They have to win these next 2 games to have a shot. Lakina, Jared Goff has been playing well in the quarterback position for the Detroit Lions. He didn't do so hot last week. He committed his first turnover, his first in the last few games, but they kind of made it close at the end at Carolina, but they lost on the road last week. Of course, the Bears lost at home to Buffalo in that fourth quarter, 35-13. Lakina, quickly, we'll get to we'll give you our picks in the next hour with our girl Christine Manika. What are your keys for the Bears to if they can pull off an upset in Detroit on Sunday?
Well, look at the injury report. It looks like Chase Claypool is he was limited in practice today, so we'll see if he's going to be available. I think if he can be available, that maybe if they actually use him, but I think
exactly
they probably will actually fully use him until next season. So I think there, but I see Dante Pettis. He's questionable. Also, Trevon Wesco, the tight end, he's also questionable. So a little bit of a better injury report. Like I said, he was limited. I'm talking about Claypool. He was limited. Cody Whitehair was a full participant, so he will play. But yeah, I mean, at this point, like I don't care. Like I'm at that point where like the Bears season can be over with fast enough. I mean, look, Detroit has fallen into some some of the same bad habits. You're seeing some of like the deficiencies and stuff. I mean, it's really not really Carson Wentz's fault. I mean, he hasn't really like done anything, but seeing some of the defensive struggles. I know Aiden Hutchinson had a good rookie season for them, but yeah, their defense kind of gives up a lot of plays and such. So I'm I know I'm on Rashae Brown. Excuse me. I mean, he's probably one of their top receivers. Swift has been coming along. Jamal Williams has been pretty solid too on the backfield as well. So yeah, it's just like I don't know what to expect. I mean, could the Bears beat the Lions? Sure, but could the Lions do what they did at Soldier Field earlier this season? Yeah, I can see that happening too.
Yeah, referring to the first meeting back early in the season, Lakina, the Bears were up by 14 points in that fourth quarter against the Lions. Justin Fields was running all over the place against that at that time bad Lions defense. And remember, his pick 6 was the key for the Lions again their season turned around and beating the Bears and leading them up to this point on the verge of perhaps clinching a playoff spot for them. But you mentioned Jamal Williams. That's going to be key, I think, for the Bears to if they want to pull off an upset, stop the running game for the Lions with Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. And like I said, don't get fooled by that play action pass by Jared Goff. If you could do that, I think you'll have a shot. If you're the Bears offensively, you run the ball heavily with Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery, and they'll definitely put you in a great position to win. They did that to a lesser extent in the first meeting in Chicago earlier this year. Of course, Justin Fields, as we mentioned, took up most of the rushing yards in that game. If you're the Lions defense, you neutralize Justin Fields' running lanes, and you did that. You forced that pick 6 in the first meeting. Can you do that again for the whole game? That's going to be the main question here.
Well, the good news is that they'll be indoors. We're just outside Detroit, so yeah, they think that weather won't be an issue for them. But yeah, I mean, look, honestly, I think like you said, I think look, it'll be interesting to see if the Lions get the game plan going. I'm sure the Bears will love to play spoiler for them. I know that'll be probably interesting too, especially after what happened in their first meeting. But it's sort of one of those things where, I don't know how this game is going to go. I probably won't be watching this game very much, because I don't really care at this point. Yeah, I mean, look, if the Lions need to win these next two, the Bears and the Packers, who they play next week. That's going to be sort of the key. They need to win both, so they got to win this game. But other than that, it'll be bye to them. So it'll be interesting. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure Phil will have his, his plays and such. He'll be running, especially with the rush defense for the Lions not being very good. So yeah, I mean, look, honestly, this game could go either way. So I'm like, okay, but yeah, like I said, like this season for the Bears can't be over soon enough. I know people want to, because you're hearing like some of the rumors. Some people say, well, they should go after DeAndre Hopkins. They should go after Devontae Adams after what happened with Carr, being set out. I mean, I think people need to remember too that they're going to have to take that money. You're going to have to take DeAndre Hopkins' money. You're going to have to take take a big chunk of that Devontae Adams.
There goes your salary cap.
And that's your salary cap gone right there. So that whole thing. I know people want to say this and that, but this is why you guys do or put your trade machines. This is why these executives are do what they do.
Before we move on, Lakina, good buddy Lamont Scott checks it again via the Facebook page. He says he's hoping that the Bears frustrate the Lions enough where they're mad going into the Lions Green Bay game, so the Lions beat the Packers. Lamont, you know this as well as we do, all of our listeners and viewers out there. You can't look ahead to the next opponent. You got to take care of the one that's in front of you. And the way Green Bay is going right now, we'll get to them in the next hour. But yeah, but for the Lions, you just have to worry about the Bears. You have the Bears at home. If you beat the Bears, you put yourself in a better position because, like we said, Lakina, this for the Lions. This is an elimination game for them. If they lose, they're out. There's not going to be an 8-9 team in a wild card in the NFC that's going to make the playoffs this year. There's just not. So, like you said, the Lions have to win this game, and they have to beat Green Bay next week. Like I said, the Bears can't play spoiler. Real quick, Lakina, remember back in 2000, the St. Louis Rams were defending their title before they lost to the New Orleans Saints in the wild card round. Remember this scenario? They played New Orleans in the regular season finale. The Rams had to win that game. Guess what the scenario had to happen for them to make it to the playoffs? Do you remember?
Let's see. I think someone else had to lose, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know who that team was, but I know someone else had to lose.
Yeah, the Detroit Lions. This was the second year without Barry Sanders. The Detroit Lions had to lose to the Chicago Bears in order for the Rams to make the playoffs. Of course, the Rams won that game, and the Chicago Bears behind Paul Ettinger's kick in overtime beat the Lions. Not the Lions out of the playoffs, and the Rams got in. Of course, as I mentioned, the Rams lost to the Saints again. Lost to the Saints that following week in a wild card round. So could that scenario happen again? We'll see. But like I said, the Lions have the advantage going into this game on Sunday.
Absolutely. So like I said, we'll get to all that in a little bit with our week 17 picks, I should say. Good grief, the season's almost over with.
I know.
I know, but it's crazy. This is Kacy Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. Lakina McGee, Sydney Brown with you. Let's get to actually some good football. With all the bowl games that are coming up. I mean, I saw the Holiday Bowl where Washington hung on against Texas. That was a fun game. But you got some of the games that are going on right now. Of course, the college football playoff; those games will commence.
Playoff.
We'll talk more about that with our girl Kacy in a little bit. But where do you see this? I mean, the first game coming up will be if I could just find this. Scheduling doesn't want to.
Yes, number 2 Michigan versus number 3 TCU
at the Fiesta Bowl. So where do you see this game? I mean, like I said, this is going to be very interesting though with this whole thing here. Of course, the rumors about Jim Harbaugh perhaps maybe going back to the NFL, they're creeping up again, and some of the other stuff that's been happening. I know Matt Duncan said that he's going to be gone after whenever their season's over with. We've talked about it. Each team has had about 5 weeks, 4 weeks off, I should say, to prepare for this. I think for me, if you're Michigan, you want to try to jump on TCU early. They said let Donovan Edwards, kind of like get the running game going and sort of try that. If you're TCU, you want to try to slow down Michigan, not be worn out by long drives. Get Matt to do his thing. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. I'm not gonna say that TCU doesn't have a shot. I'm not gonna say that, but it's gonna be tough. But look, it's a doable, sure. But yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, you just took the words right out of my mouth. It's going to come down to the running game for the Michigan Wolverines. You mentioned Blake Corum is not going to be there, but the other guy's going to have to pick it up. JJ McCarthy has been playing with a bad right shoulder all year long. So from my other key is on the flip side for TCU's defense, you want to pressure McCarthy early and often. How many sacks you going to get on him if you can? Because Michigan has one of the best offensive lines in all of college football. It's definitely in the Big Ten. Yep. Number two, can you get to JJ McCarthy? Number two, can you create a couple of early turnovers? If you can do that, you'll definitely have more than a better shot to pull an upset.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've already been named like one of the top O-line in the country. Talking about Michigan, they've actually been. I think McCarthy's only been sacked twice, 2 or 3. I think maybe like 5 times this year. So that's really going to be the key if you're a Michigan. Try to keep him upright. Let the running game, do their thing. Try to get guys like Ricky Bell to kind of get the ball to them. But like I say, get those long drives. And Michigan's been really good with the long drives this year. So they're right up there with Washington, who had a couple of long drives themselves. Last night. So this is really going to be the key for Michigan. And also, if you're TCU, you want to try to kind of establish the game early. If you want to try and see if Duggan can kind of get the struggles and the nerves and such. So because Michigan's been in this position before, they were just in position last year. This is the first time TCU has been in this kind of position. So will nerves get to them? So I think that's going to be also for Sonny Dykes too. I know he's done it a couple of times. He was an assistant, but this is going to be his first time coaching in a big game like this. So don't be surprised if the nerves kind of get to TCU, but we'll see what happens.
And that's why I said the first few minutes of this game is important for TCU because, like you said, they haven't been in this position before. Michigan has with a veteran coach in Jim Harbaugh, and he has some of those players that experienced the pain of losing last year to Georgia. So the big advantage there to Michigan. But like I said, if TCU can control the action early, maybe force a couple of turnovers here and there, they'll definitely have that sharp shot. But I'm going with Michigan in this one.
Yeah, I think the defense for Michigan is really going to be kind of like the key here. I feel like because if you're Michigan, your defense got better and better as the season went on. So I'm sure they're well aware of that. DCU has this thing of trying to come back. So yeah, I know Lamont said that the running game could probably be the key for Michigan to kind of keep that from happening. But I think if you're a defense, try force Master can kind of try to improvise and see if you can throw him off his game. So I think that's gonna be interesting. The second game of that doubleheader of the college football playoff is Georgia and Ohio State. I know Ohio State, much like TCU, also people feel that they backed in and such. Of course, you got C.J. Stroud, Marvin Harrison Jr. I think I think they'll keep it close to talk about Ohio State because I'm sure they're going to be in improvement mode. That'll be that this game will be right after the TCU Michigan semifinal. But I think for me this will be in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I should say. I can't.
Yeah, in downtown Atlanta.
Atlanta. You gotta think there's gonna be a lot of Georgia fans there, no doubt.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be. Look, we all know Ohio State fans. They travel as well, but you gotta think there's gonna be a whole lot more Georgia fans there. So for me, I think the key to this one, look, it's gonna be a lot of experience. You got a lot of those guys that are still there from last year. Stetson Bennett, some of the other players from the national championship team are still there. Look, it's gonna be the first time for Ohio State either, but at the same time, though, this could be a talent thing. So I think I'm not gonna say Georgia will blow them out. Talk about Ohio State, but they know what's at stake. Going back to back, and which will be the first for them. Yeah, I think that's really gonna be the key here for me.
Yeah, the keys to me is who's going to make the big play offensively for both these teams. We know about Stetson Bennett's ability for Georgia, but I'm looking at what CJ Stroud, can he do, the quarterback from the Buckeyes, what can he do against this Georgia secondary? Will Marvin Harrison Jr. step up? Will some of the other guys step up? I want to see if CJ Stroud can make the big plays downfield. And if Georgia's secondary can limit that, and that's the same thing on the flip side for Ohio State's defense. You saw what happened in that game against Michigan last month, which they got shredded, especially in that fourth quarter. Most of it was due to the Wolverines running game. But Ohio State must prevent the big play, and they must make the big play downfield.
And look, our buddy Lamont Scott says, I think this game will determine CJ Stroud's draft position and how he plays. Now, that's
That could be. Yeah, that could
I mean,
be.
if that's assuming if he decides to leave, I mean, like he could perhaps come back again next year. I mean, he's only a junior, so that's going to be like another thing to look out for as well. I think their defense, the Georgia secondary is a little bit suspect, but so I'm sure Marvin Harris Jr. will get his share of plays. But I think that front seven of Georgia is going to be going for CJ Stroud. So for Stroud, I think you better try to get the ball away as quick as you can.
Yeah, and also too, you mentioned the Ohio State's offensive line. Can they protect CJ Stroud? Because those are some, no pun intended, those are some hungry dogs from the Georgia Bulldogs on their defensive line. So that's gonna be another key as well.
All right, hour number 1 in the books. Hour number 2 straight ahead. Of course, you got busy half hour. We got 2 of our favorites coming on. Of course, Kacy Standohar from CHGO, as well as her. You've probably seen her do science stuff pretty much everywhere these last few months. We'll talk to her about those adventures. Also, too, some of the stuff going on locally and nationally. Also, too, of course, our girl Christine Manika is back after a week off. We'll catch up with her. Of course, we'll do our Week 17 picks. Lakina McGee, Sydney Brown, Second City Sports on Sports on Chicago. Busy hour number 2 coming up right after this.
No, I don't know though. I'm scared. I mean, you're
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
Hi, I'm Tom Brady, the director of DODEA. September is National Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. The simple act of reaching out and caring for those in our communities is something we all can do. Just being there for someone you care about can be a tremendous first step in getting them access to confidential resources and support that they need. It only takes one person and one small act and 1 minute to make a difference. Let's make a difference.
Move it!
Many will hear the calling. Few will earn the title. United States Marine. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of this special edition of Second City Sports. We're live and in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago, along with Miss Lakina McGee, which is she. I am Sydney Brown. Hey, that's me. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow me at Keita McGee on the Twitter and at Keita McGee on the IG.
We have an hour left of this extravaganza. We call it Sports Talk Radio Show. You have any questions and comments for us, especially for our next guest is going to join us for the rest of the show, you can always hit us up in the comment section at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in your questions or comments in the comments section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you. And that's a daily reminder. You can also check out Sports Zone Chicago now available on Roku TV.
All right, Sid. We had her on. We were doing this Zoom style like a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yep.
Yeah,
we were talking about Last Dance and where about sports was coming back and getting a little background on our next guest. But let's welcome her in, Lakina. She's a social media haven of there, CHGO Chicago Sports. She's also doing good work for FS1, Big Ten Plus, and doing high school games on the sidelines for the Marquee Sports Network. Let's please welcome back in our good friend, Miss Kacy Standohar. What's going on, Kacy?
Last time we talked, we were like all in quarantine.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's good to see you both.
Yeah, back at you. So we'll get to all the crazy stuff you've been doing because I know you had a crazy last couple of years since we last talked to you. So, but let's get right to it. We'll start with local sports first. Since you're the social media maven for CHGO, we had a lot of our good friends. Of course, Matt Pack, Big Dave Watson, Jared Willis. We just had guys. Yeah, Jared Willis. We just had on last week, but we'll start with season. We'll start with the Bears. What do you think? I mean, with Justin Fields, so how do you feel about Justin Fields still playing? Do you think he should sit out the rest of the year? Do you think perhaps more better? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think at first I thought that it would be great for him to sit out and not risk getting hurt. But at the same time, I really do think it's important that he continues to develop. We've seen, after the bye week, he really started to get really good, and everyone says, oh, he's just a running back. He's not a great quarterback, whatever. But he's the guy. He's the guy we've been waiting for. He's the quarterback we want. And yes, you look at the record and you say, okay, well, 8 straight losses. This team is in the tubes. But at the same time, we needed that development from Fields. And I think if he continues to play, he's only going to keep developing and getting better for next season and hopefully a better draft pick. So on and so forth. And I kind of feel sad that it feels like Bears fans have sort of given up and said, okay, well, just next year, whatever. But we have the Lions, and the Lions have had a season that's gone like this while ours has gone like this. So pretty much we love to play with our best, and Justin Fields is our guy. So that's my thought.
Let's flip it over to the defense. I know they had a couple of changes at the trade deadline this year. Of course, Roquan Smith was traded to Baltimore. Of course, he became a Pro Bowler. Robert Quinn, who's out with the injury now, he was traded to Philadelphia. But their defensive line is nothing short but terrible. But on the flip side, you still have Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker. It looks like it's a promising young Bears secondary. I know Jalen Johnson is the best on that team. He's still injured. But what do you think about that Bears secondary going into the future?
Well, I think it's part of the future. And I think that we've seen, good players like them develop. We have Chase Claypool now. We have David Montgomery. We have guys, Cole Kmet. Like, we have guys that can help. And our secondary is getting stronger. And I'm confident that future seasons, the Bears are going to win more games than just, 3-4 games we won. So I am confident that the secondary is also improving. And I think when everybody buys in and believes, that's a huge plus. And I like the news, guys, about Kevin Warren. I know it's not set in stone yet, but I think it's interesting that he could become the next president and CEO of the Bears because, he's with the Big Ten, which is in Chicago. He has former work with the Vikings and was really influential in helping with their US Bank Stadium project and kind of top down doing business operations for them. So I kind of like that we could see just sort of a resurgence all around for the Bears, whether it's the new stadium in Arlington Heights, Justin Fields developing, the secondary, the defense. I like where this franchise is going.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically, if you read his statement from, I guess, about Mr. Warren's statement, it was basically like a really long, very wordy, what, huh? What? I don't know what.
Yeah.
You didn't say you were doing, but you didn't deny it either. So I have no clue what's going on with that. But so yeah, that's something to look out for. He comes with great credentials and such. And look, I'm sure the Big Ten, I'm sure they're going to want to, especially since they're still doing with the TV deals, he got that going and such. But Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he does this. I know there are a couple other guys that they've interviewed as well and such. Going back on the field. I mean, what is there anybody like on other than Fields? Obviously, is there anybody that you're encouraged by with the Bears? I mean, I know it's sort of hard. Velus Jones showed a little bit of. Put a little bit in that Buffalo game, but some of the other guys. I know Dante Pez has been pretty good as well. So, what other young guys, young guns stand out for you?
Well, I like Cole Kmet. I think Cole Kmet has shown some really interesting promise as a tight end. He stepped up and made some big plays when Justin wasn't, and I don't know. I think he could be someone that people are wearing his jersey. People are enjoying him, watching him play. People are fans of Cole Kmet. He just won the Jeff Dickerson Good Guy Award, so he's obviously a leader not only on the field but beyond that. And he's a good guy. I mean, I think that he has been really interesting to watch this season.
We have a question from our guy Lamont Scott from our Facebook page, Sports on Chicago on Facebook. You asked our girl Kacy a question. She's going to hang out with us for the next hour to close out the show. Lamont says, asking Kacy, what move can the Bears make in the offseason for an impact move in the offseason to improve the team next year?
Okay, I really like this question because we just got a DM recently on CHGO Sports, and this was an interesting kind of trade thing that I think the Bears could do and could be interesting. So he said, this is from a guy named Kevin Kellish who DM'd us on our CHGO Sports. He said, do you think there's any chance we could pull off a trade with the Saints, our number 2 pick, if we got it, and get a 3rd round for Saints number 9 and Chris Olave? What do you guys think of that? I thought it was interesting because you can reconnect Fields with Olave.
Yeah, old team is Ohio State, yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. Could that be a move?
I mean, you wouldn't have to give up. You may have to give up maybe like a 2nd round pick, maybe perhaps, or he's still under a rookie contract, so you don't have to worry about money. Have taken a lot of money. You don't have to worry about with DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams. Don't worry about that. But I could kind of see that. But yeah, again, I think you would have to see well, who would the Bears have to give up? Who would the Saints would have to give up? So yeah, it's other than Olave. I'm sure they're going to want that number 2 pick. So I don't know. It'll be interesting, but
it was an interesting move.
Yeah, like I said, if it says the 2nd pick and the 2nd round pick, okay, but like Lakina said, you don't have to overpay Olave too much. I know Michael Thomas on the other side of his career for New Orleans, and they don't have any other big time receivers yet. That's probably why New Orleans initially will ask for overhaul, but Olave shouldn't cost too much. If it's that 1st round pick and a 2nd round pick, I'm all for it. As long as you don't have to overpay him.
Right. I agree, guys. I think we struggle with injuries too at the end of the year and at the trade deadline and things like that. So I'd like to see all of our guys healthy. I'd like to see Cole Kmet step up in a big way. I love seeing Justin Fields continue to be the guy. I mean, when we look back at like the moments of 2022, it started off so strong. They had that slide in the rain and everybody was like really amped about that win. And then things kind of went downhill from there. But what I love about Bears fans, and coming from living in Ohio for a majority of my life, is Bears fans are thick and thin. They go through it. They go up and down. And I didn't really realize that until I moved to Chicago is they're very up and they're very low, but they're still always a fan. They never give up on the team. And even if Bears Twitter is a mess and people are complaining, it's I feel like a lot of Browns fans give up. A lot of Browns fans are like, I'm done with this team. I've had enough. But Bears fans are there.
Well, look, I'll give you Bears Twitter, whereas you Bulls Twitter as we talk about the Bulls. Of course, they've been a little bit of a run. They've won 3 of their last 4. They've got Detroit tonight. So what do you think? I mean, of course, Bulls Twitter, I know you've seen it, Kacy. It can be a little bit fickle too at times. So what do you think about the Bulls this season? What do you expect from them as we go into 2023?
Well, it'd be nice to see our guys better. It'd be nice to see Ball back and better. It'd be nice to see Levine start playing better. It would just be nice to have a fully healthy team. I'd like to see Ayo Dosunmu step up in a bigger way. And it's interesting, we were just talking about this about DeMar DeRozan. We were just saying how he's well into his 30s. Kevin Kadick was talking about this on our show, and he's still making big plays for this team, in the fourth quarter. And they're just regulation games. But they had that bad game where they gave up 150 points, and our guy Big Dave was just distraught about it on the Bulls post game.
I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a roller coaster for them too, and it's always great to beat the Bucks. I love that moment for them, especially with Grayson Allen, just being really well hated by all Bulls fans and players. So I don't know. I'd love to see them. This year has been a struggle. All of our teams have been such a struggle, guys, and I like. I guess switching gears a little bit, I like that the Cubs have made some moves. I'd like to see the Sox make some more moves because I am a true baseball fan. I love baseball at the heart that's my sport. But I don't know. I just feel like we launched CHGO in the middle of all of these teams being really bad. And so I would love to see how things grow and change when the teams are really good,
Yeah.
I mean, we had the Sky. The Sky had a great season, and I'd love to see them, try to get back to where they were 2 years in a row. But with those free agency, there's a lot of unknowns with the Sky. I mean, a lot of these players, are they returning? Are they not? So I don't know. It could be a few more years for us waiting.
Hopefully it's not that long, but we'll see.
Not. Yeah.
Yeah. Hanging out with us for the rest of the show, our girl, Miss Kacy Standohar. She's the social media maven for CHGO. She's joining us here on Second City Sports, a special New Year's Eve edition. I'm Sid, that's Lakina, so we hang out with you for the rest of the show. Kacy, you brought up baseball, and we'll start off with the team that you follow since you moved here in Chicago. That's the Chicago Cubs. They signed Dansby Swanson to their big-time contract, $177 million. Of course, now it improves them defensively, but there's still a couple of names out there that people are talking about. Trey Mancini being one of them. The Cubs still need a bat. Do you think they'll do that before spring training, or do you think they're exploring any possible trades to help this Cubs offense?
Well, I mean, it's tough to say. Dansby was such a big signing and something that we were waiting for, and I'm kind of glad the whole Correa thing didn't work out. We really wanted Carlos Correa for all this time, and then that didn't work out, and now his physical's turning up strange. And so I'm kind of glad we avoided that mess, whatever that means for the team. I'd love to see the Cubs make some more moves before spring training. If they're serious about it, like I think they are with Dansby and Cody Bellinger, I think they need to make more moves. They just signed Tucker Barnhart, which is awesome. It's the Chicago Cubs, we're a market 3 team. It's like the Sox losing Jose Abreu, it's a sting. And when we lost Wilson Contreras on Contreras,
don't make me cry about Abreu.
Yeah, I'll say, he has a.
Yeah, sorry I brought it up. But yeah, I'd love to see these teams make some serious moves, and they need to spend the money. They have the money. I know there's a lot more into it that I probably don't know about that goes into it, but I would love to see them make some moves because I think it's so key for fans to want to keep coming back to these games. I mean, my boyfriend, for example, shares season tickets with his brother and his brother-in-law, and he's like, I had a hard time even selling them last year. Nobody wanted to go.
Yeah.
It was that bad. So I think for the all-around organization and for the well-being of baseball in Chicago, they got to make some more moves. It'd be great to see that happen. Dansby, I think, was a great signing. You guys saw his press conference when they introduced him and how he has more ties to Chicago than we all thought. It's not just about Mallory and his wife who plays for the Red Stars. His grandpa was a big Cubs fan too, and he wanted to play for the Cubs to make his grandpa proud. And I really hope he becomes sort of the new Cubs face guy. Right. We lost Chris Bryant, we lost Rizzo, and those were those guys that for us. So I'd love to see how this year plays out for them.
I know you talk about the attendance, Kacy, because I went to one game last year, and it was early. It was against the Dodgers. Of course, most of those fans that filled at their place were Dodger fans. But how crazy that dynamic was. We talked about this, Lakina, last year. Despite some of the empty season, of course, there was a whole lot more in August and September. The Cubs finished 9th in attendance, which was really astonishing to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that people still love to go to a 120 Cubs game.
Yeah.
Like people skip work on a Friday or a Tuesday or whatever, and it's like I think it's more about the allure of Wrigley Field, right? You know, you have the atmosphere, you have people coming from all over the world, the country. So that's great to see. And they did a really nice job this past winter with the Winter Wonderland at Wrigley. We got to go there at CHGO, and that was awesome. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's the federal landmark, right? And so people are gonna go.
Yeah.
Finishing 9th isn't bad. But I'd love to see that get better this year. I'd love to see, I mean, I could like hear it from my house sometimes, you know, I mean, it would be great to have more excitement at Wrigley. And even though I grew up an Indians fan, I kind of switched to a Cubs fan after 2016, which was obviously devastating for me.
I remember you told us that.
My boss just asked me that. He was like, what's been the worst like Cleveland loss for you? Because you grew up a Cleveland fan. And I said 2016. I was so invested in that team. But at the same time, that was a great year because that's the year the Cavs won the championship. Yeah. So I knew we couldn't have both, you know. But as a new Chicago fan and adopting Chicago teams as my teams, I would love to see the Cubs just totally improve everything next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to some happy stuff. You know, let's talk a little bit about you, Kacy, because I've seen your stuff on Twitter, and you know you've been super busy these last few months. You know, you've covered conference championship games. On the sidelines. Yeah. You know, I know you did the Big East women's soccer conference championship. I know you did a couple other conference championships. Of course, you're still doing. You did the state championship. You know, here downstate. You know, over the Thanksgiving weekend. What's been your favorite thing to cover? I know you started on CN 100 doing high school sports. You know, doing the sidelines for that. So what's your favorite thing of these last few months that you've done? Because you've been super busy.
Yeah, I have been. It's been so great. I've just been saying yes to opportunity, and it's been such a blessing. You know, after COVID, I wasn't sure I'd have more gigs. After CN 100 was no longer, and after the Chicago Bandits were no longer, and I was like, what am I going to do? So it's been great that these gigs have been picking back up. The IHSA state championship for Illinois high school football was such a cool experience. That has to be up high on the list for me because I have never seen such good high school football. And as the classes went up from 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A, 7A, 8A, the kids just got bigger and bigger and the kids got larger. And I was like, I have never seen this before. And I couldn't even see over them on the sidelines because I'm only 5'3". So I could, it was like crazy to do my job, but I worked with a great crew with Weigel Broadcasting, and they were awesome to work with. And, working with Games on the U has been really great. High school sports is just so fun. It's so different. But I do have to shout out working on FS1 for the Women's Big East Field Hockey Championship was really cool this year. I got to travel to Norfolk, Virginia for that. And I had never really known a lot about field hockey, but it's such an interesting, cool sport that not enough people know about. To have women's sports and have field hockey on FS1 on a national broadcast was really cool to see, just so people could understand and learn and experience field hockey more than they probably ever could. So I love doing that. I have some hoops coming up. I have Big East college hoops, and then I also have high school hoops. I will be working the Illinois State High School boys and girls basketball championships too, coming up in March. So I'm really excited about that. It's hard to pick a favorite. Those are some of the highlights.
We're hanging out with our girl Kacy Standohar, this CHGO sports social media maven, right here on Second City Sports. I'm Sid. That's Lakina. We're live in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. And speaking of CHGO, Kacy, how did that relationship between you and that company come about? Because I know you guys started in March. You guys are coming up on the 1-year anniversary in a couple of months. You guys, we're not just saying this because we had some of your colleagues on, but you guys are putting on great work. You're getting the word out there. People not just support us, but support them as well. They're doing great work. How did that relationship between you and CHGO come about?
That's a good question, Sid. It was really interesting. I was looking to do more in sports, and this is before I had a lot of my FS1 and ESPN Plus gigs that I do now. But I had reached out to Kevin Kadek, who's the head of content over there, and he's a former Yahoo Sports writer, and he also started this Midway Minute, newsletter and website that he had, and it was really cool. And I had reached out to him because I was like, hey, does he need me to like do any videos for him or social media? I could help out. It was one of those things where I was just looking for some freelance work. And it was really great timing. This is one of those timing is everything situations because he reached back out and said, hey, your inquiry comes at a very interesting time. Can I get back to you in a few days? And I was like, sure. I don't know what that means. And then I got a newsletter update because I had subscribed to his newsletter. And so it said that the newsletter was ending. And I was like, oh, shoot. And then he had this new project coming up. And it happened to be CHGO. So he called me back and said, hey, I'm actually ending my newsletter. I don't know if you saw, but we are starting up CHGO here in Chicago. And, I think there could be a fit for you here. So it worked out really well. I was right place, right time. And I got brought on as the social director, which has been such a really awesome learning experience and just experience in general, because I've done social media before, but never full-time for sports. So you learn pretty quickly more about the Chicago teams, more about the history of Chicago teams, and more about what works for the audience here and the fans here in Chicago. So I have a great staff. Everybody I work with was awesome. Producers, writers, the host, everybody is really, really cool. And I know you guys know a lot of them too. So
yes.
Yeah, I'm one of the only females, and I'd love to have some more ladies in the room, but we have a great group of guys who are just true gentlemen and so fun to work with, and they make it easy on me. They really do.
And speaking of that, you tell Kevin that that you guys need a weekend sports show, and me and Lakina can be part of it, so you can boost up the ratings for the female sports fans as well. So just putting it out there.
Yeah. As we continue to grow, I mean, who knows? We might do more college sports. We might do more Big Ten stuff. Who knows? So we're excited about where it's going. We've grown a lot in the past 10 to 12 months, and it's just going to keep going up from here. So yeah, we're really happy. It's fun. We have a great office in the West Loop, and we get to connect with people like you guys and have people on our shows. So it's all around an awesome experience.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we've been saying, we've had a lot of the guys on and such. Like I said, just saying, me and Sid, we could do a weekend, college hoops, show or whatever with with the hoops we get into full swing. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of like we love. I'm glad we got you back, Kacy, because like I said, your career's kind of like been sort of like on the stratosphere lately. Like I've seen some of the championship games. So like you said, you're gonna be doing hoops and such. You saw Mount Carmel, one of my friends, favorite, his alma mater, winning another state championship.
Yeah, they're a beast. I mean, God, they're such an incredible team, and their coach Jordan Lynch, who is just an incredible former athlete and coach. They are great to cover.
Yeah, former NIU QB and also Bears quarterback. Got a little couple with the Bears for a little bit. Yeah.
Yes, and he was really awesome to interview because I did a game a few weeks before that, a semifinal game for Marquee Sports Network, which was another awesome opportunity. They were awesome to work with, and that was Mount Carmel again, Mount Carmel St. Rita. And so it was funny because a lot of the head coaches that I interviewed in those semifinal games or in the state championships ended up retiring. So we had Todd Kuska from St. Rita retired. It was his last year. Ken Leonard retired. And I'm pretty sure John Holisek just retired. So a lot of these coaches, I was like their last interview. And I was like, am I making these guys quit? It was fun. I mean, these guys are legends in the city of Chicago and in the suburbs that they've been coaching for years. And when you go back and look, and I was researching how many state titles some of these guys have won. It's amazing.
It's massive. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Kim, do you want us to bring in our good friend before we hit the bottom of the hour break? Kacy, we want you to meet her. She's our during the football season. She's our NFL Pick'em's guru. She's also from Chicago. She works in Sioux Falls, South Dakota at KXRB. Let's bring her in, Lakina. Here comes our girl, Miss Christine, the Queen Manika. What's going on, Christine?
Hi, how are you?
We're doing great. How about you?
Oh, not doing too bad.
I know.
Yeah, Christine, this is Kacy. Kacy, Christine.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you too.
I like your background. That's giving me good vibes.
Thank you. Me too.
I know you're playing her, Christine. You got a little bit of a little under the weather, but yeah. So what have you been up to this last week?
Just getting back into the swing of work. I went home for the holiday, and then I worked for 3 days, and now I have a 3-day weekend, so it's great.
I've got to love that.
Yeah, so we'll have more with these lovely ladies coming up as we continue with our year-end show on Second City Sports to wrap up 2022. Kacy Standohar from CHGO, Christine Manika from KXRB. When we return, Christine will give us her Week 17 NFL picks, and we'll get some more stories from Kacy as far as her sports broadcasting career and her future endeavors with CHGO Sports. That and a whole lot more as we continue after this. You listen to the Friday edition of Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. We're live in living color. I'm Sid. That's Lakina. We'll be right back.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I need for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class.
These colored pencils, too. These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver.
And I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov, a public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Sean and Maya in the morning.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, sorry. Welcome back.
Oh, Jesus.
Welcome back to Second City Sports. We're live and in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago, along with Miss Lakina McGee, which is she. I am Cindy Brown. Hey, that's me. We are joined by our girl, Miss Kacy Standohar from CHGO Sports, and Miss Christine, the Queen Manika from KXRB. You're listening to Second City Sports, Sports Zone Chicago. We have less than a half hour left of this extravaganza. We call it Sports Talk Radio Show. You want to hit us up at the comment section, please go to Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page and Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in your questions or comments in the comment section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you. Miss Lakina, it's now time for our Week 17 NFL picks.
Well, Sid, you're not running away with it, but you're getting close to it. I mean, you had 12. Christine and I, we both had 11. So yeah, Thanks for nothing. Who was it that I wanted to yell at for? Thanks for nothing. With Dolphins for letting Aaron Rodgers and then back in it. Like, thanks a lot.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I picked Miami too.
Yeah, so did I, but I got burned. But yours surely picked Carolina last week over Detroit. Yes.
Yeah. Well, look. You did. Look, you were right on the Saints about the Saints, Christine. So I know. Yeah, I know. Kacy, she was a Cleveland sports fan. Our girl Kacy here. But look. I mean, look, you're still like 2 games us it, but look, there's still a lot to do. We still got a couple of weeks left, so hopefully, Chrissy, you still got a shot to make a little bit of a run here. Now, Kacy, we want you to play all along with us too. That'd be pretty cool if you
no
want.
pressure on you, Kacy. No pressure.
Right.
Rest. Okay, what are we doing?
All right, we're picking on the games from NFL Week 17, and
okay.
some of the matches are kind of blah for the most part, but so we can be able to breeze right through these. But we'll start off with the noon games. Jan 1, first games of 2023 NFL games. The 4-11 Cardinals and the 5-10 Falcons. Christine, you start this one for us, please. I'll switch it up a little bit.
I think I'm gonna go with Atlanta because they're at home, and I think now Arizona's down to like the 3rd or 4th string quarterback, so they're just done for this season. I feel like.
Yeah, Arizona couldn't knock out Tom Brady, so I'm going with Atlanta.
Kacy?
I might take the Cardinals.
Look, crazy things have happened this season in the NFL, so what a.
And I just feel like they're due one. And isn't JJ Watt like retiring now? Maybe he's
yes.
He's gonna have like a few more good. I don't know. I just feel like that could be interesting.
I mean, it could be. I mean, but I'm picking the Falcons. I'm sick with the home team. So you're on you're all low.
I'm gonna be wrong.
Well, look, like I said, straight things have happened this year in the NFL. Of course, AFC South, the Jaguars, they're now in the driver's seat with it's still gonna come out between them and the Titans regardless next week. But sort of like put a little bit of a cushion. You got the Jags and the Texans. Sid, you start this one for us.
Lovie Smith's Texans have been playing a whole lot better lately these last few weeks. He finally got his second win of the season last week against the Tennessee Titans. Yours surely picked Jacksonville in the preseason to make the playoffs via the wild card. And with this win and perhaps a win next week, they'll win the AFC South. Go figure. I'm going with the Jaguars. Enough said.
Christine?
I am, do I want to pick Jacksonville or do I want to pick the potential home of Derek Carr next year?
Oh, geez.
I don't know. It's not out of the question for me to see him play with Houston. I know Lovie Smith would be happy about that. But for this one, Houston won last week too. So my original answer right now is Jacksonville. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston won, and I almost want to change it, but for now I'm sticking with my guts.
Kacy?
I think I'm going to take Jacksonville too. I don't trust in the Texans with their record. I'm taking Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm picking Jacksonville. So a 4-way sweep here, short and sweet. Okay. We could probably just go through this, but very in 2 seconds. Broncos and Chiefs, a whole lot of turmoil. Nathaniel Hackett's gone, so I think we all do. Let's do some usage. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Chiefs.
There we go. And we didn't use look at perfect unison, so you gotta love that. So
I gotta give the Broncos organization credit though. I thought that they were gonna wait till the end of the season to let him go, Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, I know. After that little tussle went on, I guess, and then the sideline, if you saw it with Russell Wilson kind of getting, I don't want to say he was getting yelled at, but he was getting on by a lot of his guys. And, Brett Ribbett, to his credit, tried to kind of play peacemaker, but that didn't work. So that was a whole different thing. But let's get right to it. AFC East, you got the Dolphins and the Patriots. Dolphins, no Tua. Teddy Bridgewater is back at the helm. The Patriots have had 2 heartbreaking losses in a row. Kacy, start this one for us, please.
I like the Dolphins. I got to go with the Fins because my boyfriend's a Dolphins fan, and I know that they're kind of on their last string here, but I just feel like they could pull it out. They played well against Green Bay last week. And until it kind of unraveled, they started off really strong. So I'm going to go with Miami.
Sid?
I'm going opposite. I'm going with New England.
May we ask why?
One, because I said so.
Yeah, besides that.
But number two, Teddy Bridgewater, I know he's a respectable backup, but he doesn't have the same skill set as Tua Tagovailoa does, despite Tua having a bad second half last week. So I don't know how much Tyreek Hill is going to get the ball. I don't know how much Jalen Waddle is going to receive the ball. And Miami has to lean heavily on that running game. I just don't trust it on the road against Bill Belichick, as we call him on this show, and his team. So I'm going with New England.
Christine?
I'm going with Sid and saying New England. Every time, I mean, poor Tua has been concussed 3 times this season. So every time they don't have Tua at the helm, it just doesn't seem right. Like the offense, the line, it just doesn't seem to work. And again, what you said, Teddy Bridgewater, he was a great quarterback when he was with the Vikings, and now he's a great backup. But I don't think they're going to get it done this week. I think Bill Belichick and his team are looking for at least one more win before the season closes out. So I'm going with the Patriots.
Yeah, I've been back and forth on this, but I guess I'll pick the Patriots too because I just, Bridgewater, as good as he's been, I mean, the Dolphins have been very inconsistent. I know not Jerry Jeudy, but I know Tyreek Hill's been pretty banged up too. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting though. But yeah, I'll pick the Patriots. But look, watch Teddy Bridgewater have like a career game, so it could very much happen. All right, you got the Colts and the Giants, and that's your buddy Jeff Saturday, Christy. You start this one.
It's a short week for them. I have more hope for Nick Foles. I feel so bad for him. And you got to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because the poor dude hasn't been playing for the entire season. And then all of a sudden be like, okay, now you're playing. It's almost like you have to reteach yourself how to go back on the field and how to command the offensive line. And unfortunately, that just didn't work. The Giants, they have been surprising me this season, and I think we can see that continue. So I'm going to go with the Giants.
I'm going with the Giants as well.
Okay. Kacy?
I am too. Just a couple of the Colts players were just ruled out for this week, and I just don't think they have it. I think they're going to be a little bit weaker. Their cornerback, Kenny Moore, is out. Their tight end and their wide receiver. So I'm going to go with New York.
All right. I'll go with the Giants too. Saints and Eagles, we don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to start or not. Could we see Minshew again? I know the Saints feel like they still got an outside shot. Sid, you start this one.
I think we all should do this in unison again. 1, 2, 3. Eagles.
Eagles. Yeah.
Next.
All right. Yeah, this could very well end up being for the NFC South, whether we like it or not. You got the Panthers and the Bucks. Kacy, you start this one for us.
Oh, this is tougher for me. I don't know. I think I feel like I've been picking the opposite of all of you guys. I think I like the Bucks. I think that Tom Brady just is still going to find a way.
I'm with Kacy. I've always said that too. He's going to find a way one way or another, and I'm going with Tampa Bay too. I know what
they did.
Say. He's going to say Carolina. So
No,
you're not.
No. I said them last week, and that's where it's going to stay. This week, I got Tampa Bay. I know they struggled against a bad Arizona team, and they won it in overtime. I think they'll do just a little bit more, and they sense that the only way they'll make the playoffs this year is win that garbage NFC South division. So I'm going with Tampa Bay, and they will put up 20 points.
Yeah. I'm thinking they'll probably play 20 or 21. So I'm thinking the Bucks are. Yeah, the Panthers. It was a nice story. They'll be ready, but I know Brady's gonna try to pull it out. He always does. All right. Last of the noon games. Of course, other than the Bears, we'll pick them last as we usually do. Excuse me, but the Browns and the Commanders. The Commanders still have a shot, but they got to win out in order to stick into that wild card spot. I know. I can't. I can't. Well, no, because it's so confusing. Because you thought that maybe now Heineke's been benched, and now all this other, oh Jesus, do I?
That's how I feel about Carson Wentz too. Trust me.
Yeah,
I know.
I know. Well, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know, but this could be ugly. But I'll pick the Commanders because they're at home. But I'm not very confident on that. Christy, you're next.
Gosh, ever since who has been back on the field, I've been going against the Browns just because it's my own bias. I'm okay to admit that 100%. But when it comes to this, I don't like Carson Wentz. He doesn't have it. He never had it. So I'm going with logic, and unfortunately, I am reluctantly picking Cleveland. I don't like it, but I'm picking Cleveland.
I'm hopping on that bandwagon too, Christine. I'm going with the Browns just because of logic.
Yeah.
Kacy?
You guys, I'm going on bias. I have to pick Cleveland. Sadly. Because I want it for my family. They are Browns fans, so I have to root for them.
Cleveland, yeah. Look, the loyalty, Cleveland. Yeah. Look, the loyalty. Yeah,
we understand. We understand.
I get it. We totally get it. Okay, 3:00 game. First up, you got the 49ers and the Raiders. Jarrett Stidham, Derek Carr is gone, might be going bye-bye after this season. The 49ers. So I think we can do this in unison, of course, unless you guys, want to tell me something here. But let's do this. 1, 2, 3.
49ers.
Yay, we got it. Yeah.
I feel so bad for Derek Carr, the way that the Raiders just shuffled him out like that. That's not okay at all. Like, it's okay to say, oh, we're just going to bed you for the rest of the season. But to say, okay, goodbye, you're gone. It's like, really? The guy was with you when your coach was crap because of whatever. And then you had players that were getting DUIs on the side, and he still had the team together. Mm-hmm. So I think that's awful. I hope he ends up somewhere like I saw this yesterday. Chicago's an option. I kind of want that to happen. I can tell you why when we get there, but it's not a bad idea, actually.
Sid?
Oh, yeah, we picked 49ers. So, yeah, we all picked 49ers.
Yeah, so,
I was just going off a tangent about poor Derek Carr. In other news, Brock Purdy got the Rookie of the Week award, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to all that in a second, but first things first, complete with the 3:00 games. You got the Jets and the Seahawks, both teams at 7-8. Both teams need this win to, keep up in their playoff position. I'll go first. I honestly, this could get ugly real quick on either side. This could be like one of those 9-6, type of things. I'll pick the Seahawks, but again, I'm not very confident on that. So, Sid, you go next.
I'm going with Seattle too. I think Mike White will be back at quarterback for the New York Jets, but I think it's too little, too late.
Christine,
I'm going with Seattle too.
I'm with you guys. Yeah, Seattle.
All right. An intriguing one here in the NFC North. This is the game of the week on CBS. They got the doubleheader this week. Vikings and the Packers. Kacy, you start this one for us.
Oh, man. These are like two of my least favorite teams. That's
all of us.
This is so tough, when you get into the NFC North. Gosh. I think I have to take the Vikings this week. They have a better record. I don't want Aaron Rodgers to win. So that's where I'm.
Christine,
you're not up on that one, Kacy.
No, I'm the same way.
Yeah. So Kacy and Christine, they'll go with the Vikings. I know Christine doesn't like Kirk Cousins, but that's a whole nother show.
Well, here's the thing, though. If any Vikings fans think that they're going to dominate Green Bay off the top, they're a fourth quarter team. So don't expect anything big until the fourth quarter.
That's true. That's true. The Vikings have been living on the edge this year. I'm going with the Vikings as well. If they want an unofficial bye week next week to come to Chicago and not have any of their starters play, they'll be motivated this week to get it done in Green Bay. So I'm going with Minnesota in a close one.
Yeah, it'll be a close one too. Literally going down to the wire like their first meeting, but yeah, I think the Vikings will probably win out. Like, and they might sit their guys next week. So who knows? Especially if the Eagles end up because they only got to win one of their next two for that number one seed. So they might not have nothing to play for. I'm talking about the Vikings next week. So we'll see. Rams and Chargers will be this is the other game that's going to be on CBS, but most only people like out west are going to be getting this game. But Vikings, Chargers as they host the Rams. Chargers already clinched a playoff berth. They can kind of improve their season a little bit. So, Christine, you start this one for us.
Now it's a home game for both of them, technically, which is hilarious.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that we're kind of seeing the rebirth of Baker Mayfield. I don't know why, but I feel pretty confident about the Rams. So I'm going to say the Rams.
I'm going with the Chargers.
I'm also going with the Chargers. I'm with you, Sid.
Oh boy, am I going to be the lone wolf?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry, Chrissy. Yeah, but I'm saying the Chargers too. I mean, it'll be close though because these two teams are essentially like they're playing the same home field. But it'll be just to see who will have more fans, I guess. But maybe not. But
I'm just rooting for Baker Mayfield. That's another poor guy that just got the short end of the stick. And, I know there's a lot of injuries for the Rams, Cooper Kupp. I can go on about that kind of stuff, but I just like that Baker Mayfield's having a little bit of rebirth at the moment.
Right. So it should be an interesting game too, nonetheless. He got okay. Now this game was flexed into the Sunday night schedule for NBC. If you're NBC, you're actually pretty glad this happened. But Steelers and Ravens. The Steelers are suddenly back in it. In the AFC wild card chase. Sydney, you start this one for us.
No analysis for me. I'm going with Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore for sure.
Ravens, yep, Baltimore.
Yeah, I know Lamar Jackson, I think he still might be out, but yeah, I think the Steelers were able to wave that wave from Franco Harris and what happened with him. But yeah, I think the Ravens, it's their chance to try to improve it. They need to keep up, within striking distance too. So it'll be interesting. Speaking of trying to the team to try to keep up with a really good Monday night game. Yeah, I'm sure ESPN you'll be happy with this one. Bills and Bengals. Christine, you start this one for us.
My guy Joe Burrow hasn't had the best season this year, but he's had a great second half. I just think Buffalo was a little bit more consistent. They somehow made it out of Chicago when it snowed a lot, so that's good for them, and they're back now. But I'm gonna go with Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. I'm with you, Christine. I think the Bills are a Super Bowl contending team. I think it's the Bills all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think having Lyle Collins out, I think that was like the one decent O-lineman that they had on the Bengals. So that could be something to look out for. I think that Raiders defense is going to be coming for that weakness in that side of the O-line. So I'm picking the Bills. I think they need to win this game to keep pace with the Chiefs, I should say, for that number one seed. So I'm picking the Bills. Sid? Oh no, I think Sid froze on us. Sid,
we lost Sid.
Yeah, I think I know he's been having trouble with some of his his audio there. Yeah, plug yourself back in there, Sid. But yeah, our guy Lamont, he's picking the Cincinnati. So look, we'll see what happens there. But as Sid tries to reconnect, I know he's been having trouble with his Wi-Fi. But yeah, here he is. I think. Do we have you, Sid?
Sid.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Wow. I guess we'll leave the black screen alone. What game are we on? Bills and Bengals?
Bills and Bengals, yep.
Yeah, I'm going with Buffalo, especially what they did to the Bears in Chicago last week. I know you mentioned, Christine, the Bengals have had a great second half, but I'm going with the Bills in a close one on the road. Don't be surprised if they win it by a last-second field goal.
Yeah, should be a fun one here. Now, last but not least, we got the Bears and the Lions.
Lions are favored by 6.
Oh, that's a lot. 6. Oh, okay. That's a lot there. But I know. I said last week take the Bears and the under. Of course, that didn't turn out very well for me. But I'm a little more confident this time. I think the Lions will win, but I would say the Bears will cover. I think the Bears will keep it close, but I think the Lions will they'll kick it up like it did the first meet that they had. So I'm picking the Lions, but in a close one.
I'm going with Detroit. I'm not cheering for them, but I'm picking them to win.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I do think they could keep it close for sure. But if we want to keep tanking, let's just let them have it.
Cut the losses.
Right.
Cut your losses. Go home, Lions.
All right, and those are your picks for NFL Week 17. This is Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. Lakina McGee, Sydney Brown, our girl KXRB's Christy Manika, and also our other girl Kacy Standohar from CHGO. So, Christine, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Andrew Benedictine signing for the White Sox. Did we get a chance to get your thoughts a couple of weeks ago?
Well, we all know how the White Sox are when it comes to big players and whatnot. We saw the same thing with Aaron Judge when they were like, oh, hey, he's in San Francisco. What's he doing over here? And it ended up being nothing. So we'll see what happens. The White Sox have that money to do something for sure. It just depends. I like to think of it this way. When a player goes to an organization, they can see themselves not only with the team, but within the city, within the state, to see if they can really embrace themselves in that culture. So I hope it goes well. I hope that they can get a ringer like him, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, the Carlos Correa thing is interesting because apparently, same thing, with the Mets, some stuff came up and they may not sign him. So, do you guys think, if you guys could answer this, but do you guys think that? Well, of course, the Cubs are probably out now too, since they gave Swanson that nice little check. But do you think the White Sox might have a shot, perhaps, trying to get Correa?
I don't want him near the White Sox. Sorry.
Move, like maybe it's not the move. Like I just think that they might not they need him or someone like him, but maybe not Correa.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, Christine?
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Sid. No, just no. It's past that time. No.
I wanted to ask Kacy, since we have a few more minutes left with her. I know you guys at CHGO have been going out to these tailgates for the Bears game. Mm-hmm. You guys were out there for the White Sox. I'll give you a couple of suggestions in just a moment, but I know you guys had an event with the Bulls a couple of weeks ago when the New York Knicks were in town. Tell us your experiences in working those events, meeting the fans and meeting your supporters as you guys continue to grow.
It's so awesome, Sid. It's so cool to see everybody come out for those tailgates, even in the cold weather. We did end up canceling the tailgate we were going to have for the Eagles game, right? Because it was too damn cold. Like, it was just
yeah, I would think so.
Out tailgating. There were still true Bears fans out there, true Chicago guys tailgating. So it's great to meet the fans. It's really cool to see people come from all over to meet these guys, to say hi to Adam Hogue, to say hi to Nick, to say hi to Braggs, Carm, all these guys that work with us. It kind of puts it in perspective again for me. It's kind of like, wow, we are making a difference here. We are, because when you're in the grind and the day-to-day of it, you're like, is this working? I don't even know if this is working. Right. Are we even as well known as, like a Barstool or whatever? But it's like, for our niche market and our fans, this is huge. And they look forward to these events that we're holding, and they look forward to having some FaceTime with these guys. And I know our team loves meeting the fans. Like, even if a Bulls fan comes to meet, Matt Peck or somebody else, and we just all connect in that way. And it's been so great to see the turnout. And see those events continue to grow. The Bulls takeover, I was not at. I had a family event that I had to attend to. So, but I heard that was a blast too, even though the Bulls lost that game as well. It's just a good opportunity for people to come together and kind of be diehards together, and just be around like-minded fans.
Okay, we'll have this show recorded, but I'm gonna give you a couple of dates to help you guys out with the White Sox tailgate. Okay. Mother's Day weekend, I believe it's the 13th through the 15th. That's the Houston Astros come to town. That's Jose Abreu's return to Chicago. And of course, June 23rd to the 25th, the Red Sox will visit the South Side, and of course, July 25th, Cubs and Sox on the South Side. You guys can consider that date there. And, of course, that weekend, July 28th through the 30th, your hometown team, Cleveland, comes to town. So just to give you guys a couple of suggested dates to come to the South Side.
Yeah, I love when the Sox, because usually my dad comes into town when the Sox play the Guardians, so it's really fun to have that matchup, and I think we'll do a lot more of those White Sox tailgates because they have the best lot to tailgate in.
Yes, they do.
Right.
You can't really tailgate as well for a Cubs game.
But why would you?
Oh, okay.
Touche,
Sorry.
I feel you. You know, we are a North Side household up here, but I did go with Herb Lawrence and Sean Anderson for opening day.
Yeah,
this past year with with the Sox, and the fans were so nice. And I don't know if it was because it was the early in the season and nothing happened yet, but everybody was so welcoming and fun, and they were willing to be in our video that we did, and they offered us, brats and beer.
Yeah.
And it was a good atmosphere.
Oh yeah,
I was
Sean's
there.
a great guy too. I was gonna say Sean's a great guy. I went to college with him, so we would talk White Sox all the time.
Very
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, I'll tell him you said hello.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I was there on opening day. I missed you guys, Kacy. But I guarantee you this: one of the reasons why the Sox fans were happy, because remember it was near 70 degrees on opening day. We rarely get that around here on opening day in April.
They have a perfect day. That's so true. And my boyfriend's not home right now, but he gets so mad every time I say that the food at the Sox Stadium is so much better.
Yes, it is.
It is.
And he gets so offended. I'm like, why do you covet it? I'm like, food, and it's just better. There's more options. It's more fun. It's just, I got to go back for those churros. I love those churros.
Oh, the churros are, those are really good. The churros. All right, so real quick before we because we got a couple more minutes and we're up against it, but college football playoff. Who do you guys have?
Notre Dame. Well, that's going on in like a half an hour, so that's why I'm saying Notre Dame. But
oh gosh.
Well, I'm looking at the two games for tomorrow, and I think TCU is going to put up a fight. I really do, against Michigan, and I have a bad feeling that my Buckeyes are not going to be able to get it done against Georgia. That's where I'm at on those two games. I don't know about you guys.
Christine?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good either way because Clemson isn't in it. Bama isn't in it. So this is just an open season for everybody right now. It would be great if Michigan can pull it out. I think that would be awesome. But I think in the end, Georgia's going to take it all. I just got that gut feeling that it's all Georgia.
Should be. I'll say these two should be some really good games, coming up tomorrow. Of course, you got some of the games going on tonight. Of course, you got the Orange Bowl, Tennessee and Clemson. That should be a fun one tonight. A lot of the New Year's Six bowl games should be really good too. So yeah, this is kind of around the time when I got the Sun Bowl going on right now. I got UCLA and Purdue. I mean that's Pittsburgh, I should say. I think UCLA is up right now. So that should be a fun one going on right now. So this is kind of time of year where we get all the bowl games going. So this is like my favorite time of year in sports. Now as we close 2022, what was your favorite sports highlight moment, if you can find one? Especially it could be a national thing too, since we don't have it could be a national one too, since we really didn't have one here in Chicago. Not much to hear about here in Chicago this year. So Kacy, I'll start with you. Your favorite sports moment for 2022.
Does it have to be like a good moment? Because I think there were some funny momts too.
No. Any moment you want.
Two moments stand out for me in Chicago baseball. We got David Ross giving the double birds.
Yes, I remember. That was hilarious.
Birds. And sadly, it's not really to make fun of, but it was more of a shocking thing. Just having our White Sox manager fall asleep in the dugout.
Yeah, that was
a little bit funny. I'm like, I feel bad for him. I know he's going through it, and I do feel bad for him. But I just imagine myself like falling asleep, not only at work, but at work on camera.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's just a moment,
What a moment! What a moment, Christine.
I'm trying. Oh my gosh. I think, okay, so my fiance, he's a big FIFA World Cup guy. So like this past couple of months, this was like his Super Bowl for him. And I think the best games besides Argentina and France, that was phenomenal in itself. Before the final, I think the best game was Argentina and the Netherlands. Yeah. That was crazy intense. And again, it's the Netherlands. Like, you would never think that they would come down to a shootout in that game. So those were the two moments I think that stick out in my mind.
Sid?
Just quickly, I'll say Justin Fields, the emergence of him this year. Hopefully, the Bears and the upper management can give him some help this offseason via free agency and draft. The Bears need an O-line. They need a defensive line, i.e., a pass rush. I think they'll get those in the draft. But just seeing the emergence of Justin Fields is the positive story for me this year in sports, locally anyway.
You know what? I'll Dusty Baker finally getting his ring. Well, on the as a manager, I know he already has one as a player, but yeah, finally getting seeing all the bench coaches and some of the players, you gather up on him. That was a really cool moment. Also, too, Georgia finally winning their national championship after 40 years, and they'll probably end up going back to back. So we don't know, but yeah, we'll find out to another couple of weeks. But yeah, those are kind of like my two best moments in sports for 2022. So do you guys, really quick though, do you guys have any predictions or any wishes for 2023? For sports, whether it's local or otherwise.
I hope the White Sox can get their act together.
Amen.
I would really
Kacy,
like to.
What about you?
I would love to see the Blackhawks continue to grow. I know that it's not gonna be for 23, but to see them develop and make the most of their tank in order to get back to a championship caliber hockey team. I would love to see that continue to develop. That's kind of a short-term goal, long-term goal, I guess.
Well, yeah, we'll go into a long-term goal.
Yeah, for me, hopefully the Bulls can get this situation turned around and hope for a miracle that Lonzo Ball returns to play this year, because it was fun watching the Bulls in the playoffs last season. Hope we can get that this year. And I'm with you, Christine, as our White Sox solidarity. Any way they can, I prefer them to win the AL Central, but get the White Sox back in the playoffs. I know the organization is not saying that out loud, but I am. I expect you to be in the playoffs again this year. After missing it out last year.
I think Lamont said it best. He said he just wants all Chicago management to make better decisions.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, also,
I don't know which one he's aiming at more towards, though, the McCaskies or Jerry.
All of them. Probably all of them. Probably all of them. All of them, probably. Yeah, all of them. I'm thinking. Yeah, I think that's probably where. Yeah, I think the same thing. Like I'm piggyback off what Lamont said. I mean, just shows the progression with all the Chicago sports teams. I know that the Sky. I mean, I know Candace Parker is back, but we don't know who else is going to be back with her. That's kind of like the number one question there. And in that front, yeah, I mean, look, the Bulls. I'm sure they'll get it together. I said on our buddy, Titus and Arturo. I mean, on their show on V103. I said, look, I'm sure the Bulls will get it together. I'm sure. We'll see how the Bears do with more resource, especially if they hire Kevin Warren. The Sox and the Cubs, I mean, it just shows some progression. And Blackhawks, like you said, Kacy. I still watch Blackhawk games. I know it's a little bit of a chore right now, but
it's hard right now.
But I'm sure they'll get to the glory too, to the finish line. So yeah. All right. Anything else said before we disperse?
Just real quick as we close out, of course, we'd like to thank Kacy Standohar from CHGO. She says sports social media maven over there. Congratulations on all your success. Much continued success. Of course, Christine, Manika, thank you so much for joining us again this year. We're not done with you yet either, young lady. You'll be back with us in 2023. We'd like to thank all of our guests that we had on this year. On Second City Sports, to all of our listeners and viewers.
Are we last show of the year?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, for the year.
Yeah, we'll be back next year, so we ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere.
We ain't going anywhere. But we like to thank our listeners and viewers, especially on our podcast at War on Anchor, part of the War Media Network. Of course, here on Sports on Chicago with Sean Sierra and Maya Kai heading the operations. Thank them on one and all for having us do our sports show live, because as we mentioned during the top of this broadcast, Kacy, when we had you on, we were just doing it exclusively on podcasts. Now we're back doing live shows. It's great. So interacting with the fans, as you guys know at CHGO, it's nothing like that's why we do this. So we interact with the fans. So we love you guys, and we continue to do this. We expect you to continue to support us in 2023. We're looking for new viewers and listeners as well. So hop on board. We're just getting started.
Yeah, remember also we're also on Roku TV. So if you have a Roku TV app, whether it's on your smart TV or on your phone, whatever you have, you can listen to our show, watch our show. Also, Sean and Maya, the Smoke Fellas, What's Up, Cuz. So yeah, hopefully we'll be even bigger and better for 2023. Love it. And with that said, you follow me at Keenan McGee on the Twitter and at Keenan McGee on the IG.
You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at CK80. Once again, it's CK80. That's SIDKID80. SIDKID80. Christina, ooh, good grief. I'm glad the year's over. Christina, the regular lovely people follow you.
It's a tongue twister.
I know.
Tongue twister. They can follow me at Manika_KXRB.
And Kacy, where can people follow you on social media?
It's just my full name, at Kacy Standohar on Twitter, and I'm at Kacy Stando without the HAR on the end on Instagram.
All right. So again, thank you guys so much for watching us and listening to us all year long. Also, our wonderful guests as our two lovely friends here, with Christine and Kacy here, and to Lamont Scott, to all of our listeners. Thank you, Lamont. Continue to support us in 2023.
Tell everybody you know about us.
Yeah,
we don't ask for much, but
especially if you're on the Roku TV. If you got if you know anybody that has Roku on their the Roku TV app, as whatever, like I said, anytime you want to, just go on Roku television, whether you have the app on the phone, your Chromebook, PC, whatever you got, it's all right there. Just listen to us, watch us whenever you like.
All right, so for our guests, Christine, Kacy, and all of our viewers and listeners, please have a safe and healthy new year. We'll see you in 2023. Lakina, take us home.
All right, like Sid said, please don't go too crazy. I know it's going to be a little bit warmer here, but yeah, most of the country. But yeah, don't go too crazy, folks. Please, if you're gonna drink, don't drive. You got ride share and public transit. Use it. They're gonna have free public transit rides. Use them, please. And also, have a great start to 2023. This has been Second City Sports on Sports on Chicago. Have a safe and happy New Year, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Love, peace, and hair grease. See you in 2023. Holla!
Nice to meet you.